brought him home from the hospital, he was a surprise because he was beautiful. And I was the big sister and had to take care of all the little ones, so it wasn't always fun for me to have 3 baby brothers and sisters and be the teenager. But he was special. And one of the things you've all touched on about Manny that has been something that I've witnessed throughout his entire life, every day, whatever he was doing, it was his goal to do the very best that he actually could. He didn't have to always be the winner. Maybe sometimes when he was watching the kids play basketball or football, but he put whatever he had into whatever he was doing and did it the best. And he did so many things in our family over the years that were kind of the firsts. He was the first person that had a Honda. Nobody had a Honda. And when they were made in Japan and shipped over here, he had this big guy, but he had this tiny little Honda. Do you remember Honda? And he was trying to convince everybody, to get a Honda. But it was a big deal to us, and I bought a Honda right away. And then he was the first person in our family, even though others like Dare have followed, to have a boat. And he started out with a retrofitted wooden boat, and he worked on it, and he worked on it, and he invited everybody to enjoy it. Whatever he had, whether it was his home, his family, his parents, whatever he had, he shared with the whole world. And the other thing about Dan, he was an exceptional son. My parents aren't here to tell you, but for them, I'd like to say, they believed that their son Dan could do anything. I think it gave him a lot of strength. I think it gave him a lot of confidence, but they truly believed that he could do anything. And they pretty much asked him to do everything. And he was their life support, their safety net. He was at beck and call to the point that sometimes these 3 people were in the background. He put his parents first his entire life. And I guess one story that I will always remember, of many, many stories, because I remember him as a child, I remember him growing up as a teenager, I remember him interfacing in my life, every aspect of it, my entire life, and my children's lives. We lost and had a devastating experience losing my youngest daughter. I don't know, without Danny's support and the support he gave my daughters, for years afterwards, he responded. He was the adult in the room. He carried us with his laughter, with his generosity, his kindness, through one of the most difficult experiences that I could ever imagine going through. He was there for my daughter's wedding. He and Susan, on Susan's birthday, he was the guy who was the coach. He came with his notebook. It was down to the wire, from rehearsal to wedding day to reception. And he made it fun for everybody. And he followed Nick's orders pretty well, didn't he, Nick?
That's right.
Yeah. And but one of my most fond memories of times that I shared with him together, just the 2 of us, which as we grew older, there was distance, there were conflicts, there were, family life. But I was coming from a project in, I think, South or North Carolina, and driving through Akron, and he said, well, if you drive through at breakfast, meet me at Bob Evans. And I met him at Bob Evans, and I guess this happened a lot with the vegan guys. They used to hang out for breakfast after they did their work early in the morning. Yeah. And he wanted to introduce me to how you can have a 7-course meal at Bob Evans. And it was meticulous. I wasn't allowed to touch anything. We ordered the big breakfast. I can't remember what the name of it is. And he showed me how you start with your appetizer, and eventually, everything had a part. The biscuit, the potatoes, the egg, and the end was dessert, and that was the honey packet on top of the last piece of biscuit. So, but it was like he did everything that way. He thought it out. He thought about things to such minute detail in every way, and he made it fun. I could go on, as all of us could, with many, many memories, but all I can think of about my brother Dan is he is irreplaceable in my life, and he's unforgettable, truly unforgettable.